I'm sorry I fell again. Can someone answer me one thing, though? Who got Kaylee? Who brought Kaylee here?
Vex did.
Down on the bed with you. But it just seemed like the logical thing to do, dear.
Why the fuck would you do that?
Right. Well, because you see.
I promised her I wasn't going to die, and you showed her my dead body. You thought that was a good idea?
Imagine a moment when the laughter stops and the weight of unspoken hurt becomes too heavy to bear. That's exactly what happened in episode 85 of Critical Role Campaign 1, when Scanlan Shorthalt, our quick-witted bard known for his humour, walked away from Vox Machina. It wasn't just a fleeting exit, it was a powerful, heart-wrenching turning point that revealed the man behind the jokes. I've always been fascinated by how Scanlan's playful exterior hides deep layers of pain and longing. Beneath his charming facade lies a man who's been struggling with the loss of his family, the ache of unfulfilled promises, and the desperate need for real connection. When his teammates' casual treatment of his vulnerability pushed him to the edge, Scanlan's departure became a poignant moment of self-assertion, a call for the respect and understanding he'd been yearning for. In this video, we'll dive into the narrative build-up that led to his decision to leave Vox Machina in A Bard's Lament and unpack the emotional consequences it had on him and the entire group. We'll explore how years of feeling undervalued and treated like a tool came crashing down, forcing Vox Machina to confront the true cost of neglecting one of their own. So join me as we revisit that pivotal moment and examine how Scanlan's walkaway reshaped the bonds within Vox Machina, proving that even in a world of epic battles and fantastical quests, the struggle for genuine connection remains the most powerful story of all. Hi everyone, it's Chailey. Let's take a closer look at Scanlan Shorthalt, a character whose wit and charm have always hidden a deeper, more complex side to him. Scanlan isn't just the quick-witted bard of Vox Machina. He's a man who has long carried the weight of personal loss and unspoken pain. Born into a life marked by tragedy, he learned early on that laughter was the best defense. His humor became both a mask and a shield, a way to deflect attention from the scars of his past. Behind every clever quip and mischievous smile lies the echo of a lonely childhood. Losing his mother and growing up without the steady presence of a father, Scanlan had to navigate a world where emotional connection was often out of reach. This isolation only deepened when he discovered he had a daughter, Kaylee, a revelation that forced him to confront his own vulnerabilities and the desire for a genuine bond. Within Vox Machina, Scanlan quickly became the heart of the group, lightening even the darkest moments with his irreverence and humour. Yet, despite the camaraderie and laughter, there was always an undercurrent of sadness, a persistent feeling that he was more than just a source of comic relief. His jokes often masked a desperate need to be truly seen, to be valued not just for his talent on stage, but for the person he is beneath the performance.
Grog has Pike. Vax has Keyleth. Percy has Vex. But Scanlan has no one.
It's this internal conflict between the public persona that dazzles with humour and the private, self-burdened by loss and longing, that set the stage for the emotional explosion we witnessed in A Bard's Lament. In that moment, all the quiet pain and unmet need for connection finally came to a head, alongside a promise that he made to his newly discovered daughter, forcing Scanlan to confront the reality that he'd been living behind a mask for too long. Today, we're diving into that pivotal moment, exploring how years of hidden grief and the struggle to be more than just a performer culminated in a decision that would forever change his path. Stay tuned as we unravel the layers behind Scanlan's persona and discover what it really means to seek connection in a world that often values laughter over honesty.
When I met you all, I was just a funny little man playing songs, and that's all I'll ever really be. And that's okay, because I can take care of myself.
Before Scanlan's heartbreaking decision to walk away, there was a long, painful build-up, a series of moments that slowly chipped away at the mask he wore. Over the course of the campaign, Scanlan's humour and bravado were not just for show, they were a shield to hide deep-seated hurt and the loneliness of a man who felt perpetually undervalued. One of the key factors was the constant brush with mortality. When Scanlan nearly died during the intense battles he faced, those near-death experiences forced him to confront his own mortality, reminding him that even a charismatic bard isn't invincible. Each time he stared death in the face, it deepened the gap between the lively jokes he told and the quiet pain he carried inside. Then there were the moments that stung a bit more, small, seemingly trivial acts that over time added up to something much larger. There were times when the group, in their playful banter, turned a blind eye to his suffering. I'm sure many of you will recall the time they covered his unconscious body with pudding.
Well, first we're going to have to strip him.
Okay.
We're going to put him in your nightgown.
Okay.
We're going to just sort of leave him hanging off the bed and decorate the entire room with all the desserts we brought up and just smear them in interesting patterns. Maybe some Latin everywhere. Just wonder what happened.
Those pranks, though meant in good humour, made Scanlan feel more like just a prop, someone whose pain was never taken seriously. It wasn't just about the silliness of the moment, it was a subtle reminder that he wasn't seen as a whole person, just a source of entertainment. On top of that, the personal betrayals cut even deeper. Scanlan had always longed for real connection, especially as he grappled with the pain of losing his mother and the absence of his father. When he discovered he had a daughter, Kaylee, that bittersweet hope for a familial bond was suddenly shattered by the way he was treated. There was a crushing moment when he was forced to confront his own broken promises as a father, when his vulnerability was laid bare in a way that made him feel even more isolated. All these moments, these brushes with death, the careless pranks, and the neglected familial bonds accumulated over time, weighing down on him more than he ever let on. The group's lightheartedness, though genuine in its intent, gradually turned into a painful reminder that Scanlan was more than just a comic relief. He was a man who needed to be seen and valued for who he truly was. It's in this slow burn of emotional neglect and internal conflict that the tipping point was reached. Scanlan's outward humour could no longer hide the deep-seated hurt and the disconnect between what he was forced to play and who he truly wanted to be became unbearable. Every small slight, every moment of being treated as less than a full person added up until it was too much to ignore. By the time that fateful day in episode 85 arrived, the cumulative weight of these experiences had pushed Scanlan to the brink. He was no longer just the witty bard of Vox Machina. He was a man standing at the crossroads of his own identity with the painful realization that he deserved more than to be seen as merely a tool for amusement. And it was that overwhelming need for genuine respect and connection that ultimately led him to make the decision to walk away.
What's my mother's name? What's her name? Easy question. Died in front of me. Killed by a goblin. Biggest part of my life. What's her name? My father. Is he alive or dead? How old am I? Where's my fucking dog?
After years of feeling like his true self was hidden behind jokes and bravado, Scanlan finally reached a breaking point in episode 85. In that charged moment, all the quiet pain, all the subtle neglect, and all the missed opportunities for genuine connection came crashing down. The tension was palpable as he confronted his teammates, a confrontation that wasn't just about one event, but the culmination of everything he had been holding inside. The group is in the midst of an emotional aftermath, still reeling from the chaos of their latest battle and the weight of past hurts. Amidst this, Scanlan, usually the life of the party with his quick wit, stands out with a heaviness in his eyes that can't be masked by humour. He challenges the group in a way that's both raw and heart-wrenching, questioning them, asking, in effect, what they really knew about him. It's a moment where his pain is laid bare, where he demands to be seen not just as a source of entertainment, but as a person who has suffered and who deserves respect. In that heated exchange, Scanlan's words cut deep. He points out the small, painful betrayals, those moments of insensitivity, like the pranks played on him when he was vulnerable, and the neglect that made him feel like nothing more than a tool. It is this very confrontation that shifts the dynamic. Instead of offering excuses or retreating into his usual humour, he chooses to walk away. And with that, he leaves Vox Machina, if only temporarily, taking with him the weight of unspoken grief and the hope of finding a more genuine connection, especially with his daughter Kaylee. His departure isn't a dramatic explosion of anger, it's a quiet, profound decision. It's the moment when Scanlan decides that he can't continue pretending that everything is okay. Instead, he takes a stand for himself, choosing to step away from a group that, despite its camaraderie, had often overlooked the true depth of his pain. In that defining moment, the air feels charged with both sorrow and possibility. His departure isn't about abandoning his friends entirely. It's about reclaiming his dignity and setting out to mend the parts of himself that have long been neglected. It's a moment that leaves the rest of Vox Machina, and indeed all of us watching, to reflect on the cost of taking each other for granted. Scanlan's walk away isn't an end, it's a turning point. It forces the group to confront the reality that every member matters, not just for their skills in battle, but for who they are as individuals. And it reminds us that sometimes the hardest and most courageous choice is to step away so you can eventually come back whole.
I don't know what adventure we're going on next, but I think you should go without me.
Really?
Vex is right. I should talk to her. I should be here for her. I don't know why I wasn't with her in the first place. I didn't need to go with you to kill the dragons. I should have just been with her in the first place. I was probably just scared to. I should just be her father and stay.
After Scanlan's emotional departure, the ripple effects were felt throughout Vox Machina, and even by Scanlan himself. His decision to walk away wasn't just a personal moment of catharsis, it forced the entire group to confront some hard truths about how they treated one of their own. For Scanlan, leaving wasn't an escape, it was a moment of reckoning, a chance to face the consequences of years of feeling undervalued and overlooked. In the quiet after he left, Scanlan had to come to terms with his own pain, acknowledging that his humour though brilliant on stage, was also a shield against a deep loneliness. His departure allowed him to finally consider what it meant to be seen for who he truly is, beyond the role of the witty bard. Back with Vox Machina, his absence was palpable. The group was forced to reflect on the ways they'd taken Scanlan's feelings for granted. The light-hearted banter and pranks that once seemed harmless now carried the weight of regret. They began to realise that their camaraderie needed to extend beyond shared laughter. It required genuine care and recognition of each other's vulnerabilities. This introspection led to subtle shifts in how the team interacted with members, growing more mindful of the emotional toll their actions could have. The impact of Scanlan's departure wasn't confined to the immediate aftermath. It reshaped the narrative of Vox Machina in profound ways. His walkabout served as a wake-up call, highlighting that every member of the group matters not only for their skills in battle, but for the human connections they share. It sparked conversations about trust and respect and the importance of truly understanding one another. For some, it was a painful reminder of their own shortcomings, while for others, it ignited a determination to build a stronger, more supportive bond. In the long run, Scanlan's temporary exit became a turning point for the team. It led to moments of reconciliation where apologies were made and efforts were taken to ensure that no one felt like a mere prop. The incident underscored a recurring theme in their adventures, that even heroes are vulnerable, and that acknowledging that vulnerability can pave the way for healing and growth. Ultimately, the consequences of that day went far beyond the loss of a single member. They reshaped the very fabric of Vox Machina's dynamic, teaching them that the strength of a team lies in its ability to embrace every individual's struggles and triumphs. Scanlan's decision, painful as it was, planted the seeds for a more empathetic, united group, a lesson that resonates long after the echoes of that fateful day have faded. Now that we've journeyed through the build-up, the emotional departure, and the profound impact Scanlan's exit had on Vox Machina, it's time to step back and reflect on what it all means. Scanlan's decision to walk away wasn't just about anger or pain. It was about reclaiming his dignity. It forced not only him, but the entire group to confront a hard truth. Even heroes who fill our lives with laughter have deep, unspoken scars. His departure was a reminder that no one should ever be seen as merely a tool or a source of entertainment, but as a whole person with hopes, with hurts, and with a need for genuine connection. For Vox Machina, Scanlan's absence was a wake-up call. It sparked a moment of introspection, where every member was forced to consider how they treated one another. The light-hearted banter gave way to a realization that true camaraderie is built on respect and understanding, not just on shared victories and witty jokes. This painful episode ultimately paved the way for a stronger, more empathetic team dynamic, and for us as viewers and fans, Scanlan's story becomes a mirror of our own struggles. We wear masks sometimes to protect ourselves, sometimes to hide our insecurities, but there comes a time when those masks can hold us back from the genuine connections we crave. Scanlan's journey reminds us that confronting our vulnerabilities can be the first step toward healing and growth. So what do you take away from this moment? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If this exploration resonated with you, please hit that like button, subscribe, and tap the notification bell for more deep dives into the stories that shape our world. Thank you for watching, and until next time, stay true to yourself.
Turns into the room and just walks past everyone and grabs her bag off the ground, slings it over her shoulder, Grabs her violin case. So you coming?
Yeah.
Grab your things. Be waiting for you downstairs.